Good day, everyone. This affair I will be discussing philosopher named Emmanuel Kant. But before anything else, I would like to introduce myself. I am Renato Cuenco, and in behalf of my group mates, this is our report. All knowledge begins with sense experience, but not all knowledge arises of sense experience. Immanuel Kant Ethical Theory. Here are our objectives. First, to know Kant's meant by goodwill and duty. Second, to understand the imperatives. Lastly, to identify example which explains his ethical theory.
Who is Emmanuel Kant, 1727-1804? An Enlightenment philosopher, born in 1727 and died 1804. Born and died in Königsberg in East Prussia. He stands as part of the European Enlightenment. He had strict Litarian bringing, professor of metaphysics and logic. He has been described as one of the greatest thinkers of all. 1711 and 1776 and 1712 and 1778. David Hume and Jean-Jacques Rousseau became influential in Kant's thought, and he shared his reflections on these thinkers with his students. Albertina, placed where he published several essays during his first decade. Although these essays were not nearly as influential as his later works, they already contained the seeds of his critical philosophy. Emmanuel Kant was born April 22, 1724 in Königsberg, near the southeastern shore of the Baltic Sea. Today, Königsberg has been renamed Kaliningrad and is part of Russia. But during Kant's lifetime, Königsberg was the capital of East Prussia, and its dominant language was German. Though geographically remote from the rest of Prussia and other German cities, Königsberg was then a major commercial center, an important military port, and a relatively cosmopolitan university town. Kant was born into an artisan family of modest means. His father was a master harness maker, and his mother was the daughter of a harness maker, though she was better educated than most women of her social class. Kant's family was never destitute, but his father's trade was in decline during Kant's youth, and his parents at times had to rely on the extended family for financial support. The Enlightenment was reaction to the rise and success of modern science in the 16th and 17th centuries. The spectacular achievements of Newton in particular engendered widespread confidence and optimism about the power of human reason to control nature and to improve human life. One effect of his new confidence in reason was the traditional authorities were increasingly questioned. Why should we need political and religious authorities to tell us how to live or what to believe, if each of us has the capacity to figure these things out for ourselves? Kant expressed this Enlightenment commitment to the sovereignty of reason in the Critique.
As Immanuel Kant identifies rationalism as he emphasizes that knowledge is all about God and soul. From rationalism, he takes the idea that we can have a prior knowledge of significant truths, but rejects the idea that we can have a prior metaphysical knowledge about the nature. Empiricism. Immanuel Kant is an empirical realist about the world we experience. We can know objects as they appear to us. He gave robust defense of science and the study of natural world from his argument about the mind's role on making nature.
The idea of the man according to Immanuel Kant. Idea of man. Every human being is endowed with conscience that make him or her aware that the moral law has authority over them. Kant called this a fact of reason, and he regards it as the basis for a belief in human freedom. The example of this is that man was Savor Corseda, a gay man who wrote of his frustration that he and his partner of 8 years were unable to marry. The other example of this situation was we need to recover and grow the idea that the proper answer to a bad speech is more and better speech.
idea of good. As he writes, the perpetual peace a good constitution is not to be expected from morally, but conversely, a good moral condition. The gap between the ideal world of morality and the natural world of politics can never be closed completely.
Kant ethical theory. Kant ethical theory represents deontological ethics. Right actions consist solely in an action that ruled unjustified by a rule or principle. It was rational and autonomous conformity of one's will to see right, the moral law. One of the basic ideas in deontological ethics is that some actions are right or wrong in themselves regardless of their consequences. For example, tayong mga tao ay may obligasyon na sabihin ang katotohanan na kahit na magkaroon ito ng hindi magandang kalalabasan. Para kay Kant, kung ano ang totoo o tama ay dapat mong gawin. At kaya nating maging mabuting tao sa sarili natin kasi gusto natin. Next, the moral theory. The moral theory is about intrinsic goodness, goodwill, free will, synthetic a priori, moral worth, respect, and moral worth. In goodwill, he believes that when we wish to determine the moral status of an action, we consult a reason. Diba may mga times din naman na nakapag-iisip ka while the particular act na iisipin mo ito kaya ay ethical? Ito ba ay tamang gawin? Si Emmanuel Kant naniniwala na ang isang way or basic na gagawin mo para malaman mo na ang isang bagay ba ay ethical ay konsultahin mo yung rason bakit ginawa ang isang bagay na yun. For example, tumulong ka sa kapitbahay mo. Tumulong ka ba para malaki sa kanila or tumulong ka dahil obligasyon mo ito. In that way, diyan mo malalaman what is behind sa ginawa mo.
Nature of imperative. Imperatives are command. For Kant, there exist into two. The first one, the hypothetical imperative. If you want, you ought. The oath or the duty is conditioned by your desires, wants, and goals. Our goals are grounded in self-interest. The second one, the categorical imperative. The general form of do and condition. Only one imperative command, and it is the moral law. Categorical imperative formulation. First formulation. Act as if the maxim of your action were to secure through your will a universal law of nature. Meaning, act as if in your will you were defining a maximum rule for all to follow. Second formulation. Act so that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or that of another, always as an end and never as a mean. See if your actions are using others or affecting others, in the meaning of never using them as a mean to achieve but always as the end.
How to follow these formulations? Kant gives some example to use this formulation in actual situation. These examples are divided in duties. Duties towards oneself, to ensure self-preservation which are perfect, and for self-cultivation which are imperfect. Duties towards other, strict and obligation which are perfect, and beneficence which are imperfect.
Situation sample of Emmanuel Kant. Kant used lying as an example of his ethics. We people have the duties to tell the truth. We must never lie. Situation. Innocent person from violent criminals
in order to protect someone's life, and the criminal came to your door asking if the person is with you, what will you do? Kantianism will tell you that you must tell the truth, even the result will harm you coming to the innocent person.